Okay. Thank you for joining this Yin and Yoga Nidra practice. My name is Alex. For this practice, you might want some props. You might work with whatever it is that you have at home, maybe some pillows, cushions, a blanket, a towel, maybe something similar to blocks if you don't have blocks. Otherwise, blocks and a bolster are great. An eye covering might be nice, socks, a sweater, all the things so that you can feel nice and comfortable, particularly in the yin portion and in the nidra portion. So we'll begin this practice with some gentle movement for about 5 or so minutes. We'll move through our yin sequence, and then we'll move into the nidra portion where you will rest nice and cozy and listen to a guided meditation. We're going to start on hands and knees. With the eyes soft or closed, start to find some natural movement, moving through the hips, through the shoulders, maybe even neck. Beginning to notice how your body is feeling. We'll come back to a neutral position. As you inhale, drop the belly towards the floor, look forward, pressing through your palms. And as you exhale, round through the spine, curling the tailbone, tucking the chin towards the collarbones. Inhale to drop your belly, look forward. Exhale, round through the spine into cat. Keep flowing with your own breath. Come back to a neutral, still position. With a full breath in, kick your right foot back, straightening through the leg, hovering it above the ground. And with an exhale, guide your knee towards your face as you round through your spine. Inhale to extend the right leg. Exhale, knee to nose. Full breath in, extension. As you exhale, go ahead and release your right knee onto the ground. With a full breath in, kick your left foot back. Exhale, guide your knee towards your face. Inhale, lengthen. Round in. One last time, kicking the left foot back. And release the knee to the mat. Again, find some intuitive and natural movement. Come back to tabletop. Curl your toes under, walk your hands towards your knees. You might keep your hands connected to the ground, or you might walk your hands onto your thighs. Coming into a brief toe squat. Start to deepen your connection with your breath, finding length on the inhales and length on your exhales. Return your hands to the mat if they aren't there already. Shift yourself forward into tabletop. Tap out your feet. then we'll curl our toes under again, this time lifting the knees, sending the hips towards the ceiling, coming into a down dog position. You might walk your hands forward, shift more of your weight into your palms as you move the feet and the legs. Maybe bending through the knees, maybe swaying the heels gently from side to side. And release your knees to the ground, coming back into a tabletop. Pressing in through the left palm, reach your right hand up towards the ceiling. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, release your right arm behind your left arm. Maybe you gently touch your left shoulder. And then as you inhale, re-extend the right arm. Exhale to sweep and thread the arm. Inhale, fingers to sky. Exhale, release your hand to the ground. We'll take this to the other side, pressing through the right palm, opening up the left fingers and hand. Exhale, release behind the right arm. Move with your own breath. As you're ready, release your left hand to the ground. We'll set up for our first yin position, which is going to be a child's pose. I always love to give two different options, one being traditional child's pose with the knees together, or a wide-legged child's pose with the knees nice and wide, big toes touching. Option to put a blanket or a towel behind the thighs and on top of the calves. As you're ready, sink your hips back towards your heels. You might lay your forehead or your temple onto the ground or onto a block or item of support. Walk your hands forward, soften down. Bring awareness to your breath. Simply notice how you are breathing. Feel the temperature as it comes in and out through your nose or mouth. Feel into the places within your body where your breath expands. Continue finding depth with your breath. Finding more slowness and more fullness with each inhale. With each exhale, continue to soften down towards the earth. I invite you to create whatever it is that might be showing up here, either physically, mentally, emotionally, or energetically, with a sense of compassion. And give yourself permission to be with your experience without judgment. Ground and soften here for about 4 more breaths. At your own pace, without any rush, begin to plant your hands, pressing through the palms as you lift yourself up, shifting yourself forward into tabletop, and then making your way onto your belly, resting on forearms, heading into a Sphinx pose. And as you arrive, you might find a little bit of movement. You might start to sway your hips. Before settling in, check in with sensation. If you're feeling too much compression in your low back, you might take your legs a little further apart. Traditionally in this pose, the shoulders are above the elbows, but you are welcome to also take the arms a little further apart. Press in through your elbows and palms with your fingers spread nice and wide. You might stay here in stillness with your gaze looking forward, or if you want to invite some movement for the head and the neck, you could draw your chin from shoulder to shoulder, maybe even taking full circles if that feels okay for your head and neck. Continue maintaining a sense of integrity through the arms, pressing through the elbows. For these last few moments in this pose, you might offer yourself a release for the head and the neck by drawing your chin towards your collarbones. You could also place a block or something underneath your forehead for some support. Feel your belly expanding on the ground with each inhale. We'll release fully onto the ground from here. If you have blocks at home, you could take 2 blocks, placing them underneath your chest, somewhat at the collarbones, so that you can rest your forehead or your temple on the ground with your arms in at your sides. Otherwise, fully release onto the ground, turning one cheek to the mat, drawing the arms in nice and close to your body. Feeling into the support here. Rest here for about 4 more breaths. Guide your hands beneath your shoulders, press yourself up. Make your way into a seat with both legs long and extended. As you arrive here, you might rock side to side, pulling any flesh away from the sit bones so that you can arrive a little bit more firmly. Draw your right heel to the outside of your left hip. So this is a half shoelace position. You might stay here, or you might draw your left heel to the outside of your right hip. If you choose to stay here, see if there's any support that you want here, maybe a blanket or something underneath the extended leg. Tune into what this side needs. And once you have adjusted and settled in a place where you can stay with your breath, draw your arms out in front of you, cross your right arm on top of your left arm, right at the elbow, and then guide your hands up towards the ceiling. You might stay here, or you might try to guide the hands to touch. From here, press your elbows down and away, subtly opening up the shoulder blades. You're welcome to stay here in stillness, maybe focusing on a non-moving object. Or maybe let your eyes come to close. And you could also draw your elbows to one side and then the other, seeing how that changes sensation. Another option, if it feels available to your body, is to start to round through the spine, drawing the arms down towards the legs. Go ahead and release the arms. Might feel nice to shrug the shoulders. And then we'll settle into stillness for these next few breaths. Maybe you plant your hands or your fingers on the ground. Maybe you start to soften your upper body down. Draw the top of your head up towards the ceiling. Plant your hands on the ground behind you as you unwind your legs or leg. Plant both feet with the knees facing the ceiling and gently sway your legs from side to side. Making sure to do this really mindfully. Maybe you pause on each side for a couple of breaths. And then we'll prepare for shoelace on the other side. Extending both legs, crossing the left heel to the outside of the right hip. And before assuming anything here, close your eyes, feel into sensation, see what this side needs. Offer yourself anything for support here. Before we take eagle arms on the other side, see if there's any last little bit of adjusting that you need to make. As you're ready, draw your arms out in front of you, crossing your left arm on top of your right. Pressing down through the elbows. And you can choose what variation or variations you want to take here in this shape. If you notice your mind starting to wander or create stories, you can come back to your breath, come back to your body. And release your arms. Find a little bit of movement for the arms and shoulders. We'll soften in here for a few more breaths. Find a position where you can breathe and soften. Making sure that you're not forcing, striving, or experiencing pain. Plant your hands on the ground behind you. Unwind your legs. Find some gentle and natural movement to counteract that half shoelace or full shoelace. And then you have the choice for this next pose. You can either choose caterpillar with your legs nice and long, maybe a bolster or a blanket or something underneath the legs, behind the knees. Or you could become a butterfly, bringing the bottoms of your feet to touch, and choosing where you want the feet to land, closer in towards the body or further away. So if you are in caterpillar, you're probably working more along the back side of your legs, your hamstrings, your back. Butterfly is going to work more into the hips and the low back. Offer yourself anything that you want here for support. You might get creative with whatever it is that you have in your space. Some options in butterfly could be to place a block or a book or something underneath the feet. See how that changes the sensation. If you want to fold in here, you could also use blocks or a bolster or something on the feet or in front of the feet so that you can lower your forehead onto that item. And it's okay if you don't have any props. That's just fine too. Give yourself permission to start settling in here, softening any amount. Gently shifting forward from the hips. Maybe subtly tucking the chin towards the collarbones. There's no need to force yourself down towards your legs or your feet. See, in practice, we hold these positions so that we can allow time and gravity to soften us. Become aware of any thoughts. Bring awareness to your breath. Without rushing, guide the top of your head towards the ceiling. If you're in butterfly, you can move any props out of the way, draw your knees in together. Might feel nice to extend your legs long, coming into a brief caterpillar. If you were in caterpillar, it might feel nice to come into a brief butterfly. We'll be making our way onto our backs for this last yin pose. So we're going to head into a supported fish. If you have a bolster, you could use that. If you have blocks, you might use those. Otherwise, you could use a couple of pillows or a rolled up blanket. For blocks, you could have them in the horizontal position on any height. I recommend the low or the medium height, and then the block will be resting underneath your shoulder blades, and then the second block is for resting your head on. If you have a bolster or some pillows, you can snug the bolster up against your low back. And if you're lucky enough to have both, you could place a bolster underneath your spine and maybe use blocks for your legs. Get creative here. And if you're using a blanket or something rolled up, you can place it either the long way or you could place it horizontally underneath your shoulder blades. You can choose what you want to do with the legs. You could take your legs nice and long on the ground, maybe offering something for support underneath the knees. You could bring the bottoms of the feet to touch in butterfly. If you have blocks, you could place them underneath the thighs. And if you want to offer yourself some internal rotation for your hips, you can walk your feet towards the edges of the mat with the knees up, and then let the knees come in towards one another. And we'll invite some breath work into this pose. Allow a natural breath to come in through your nose and out through your mouth. We'll draw air in through the nose, filling up the belly, rib cage, and chest. When you get to the fullness of that breath, hold. Open your mouth, release, maybe let out a sigh. Take another full breath in through your nose, filling up your belly, your rib cage, and your chest. Hold at the top of that breath. Keep holding. Open mouth, exhale. One more time, breathing in fully, taking in as much air as you can. Hold at the top of that breath. Take another sip of air and hold. Open mouth, exhale. Allow the breath to go back to normal. If you feel like you're in a really comfortable position in this supported fish pose, you might stay here for the Nidra portion. Otherwise, you might roll over to one side or lift yourself up. Begin to prepare for some deep rest. Offering yourself anything for warmth and comfort. Maybe there's something that you can place over your eyes, an eye pillow or a covering. It could even be a towel. Take these next few minutes, or moments rather, not minutes. Take these next few moments to adjust and get cozy. We'll begin our Yoga Nidra practice. This is a practice of deep relaxation and connection with your true self. You will remain awake throughout this session. All you need to do is listen to the sound of my voice, allowing my words to wash over you, and simply witness your experience. It's perfectly okay if you do not hear everything I say. In this practice, it is natural to flow in and out of conscious hearing, but you will remain awake. The deepest part of you, your core self, is always listening. And like a magnet, begin to attract and call home any pieces of your energy that may still be wandering about, either from earlier today or this week, or perhaps any of your attention that may be projecting into the future. And give your whole self permission to arrive here. You are here now, fully present, safe in the comfort of your home. Begin to notice everything you are aware of in this moment. Place your attention on sounds, smells, the temperature, the clothing upon your skin. Become aware of any thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. And greet everything in your awareness with a sense of curiosity and compassion, releasing any judgment. There is no good or bad, no right or wrong. You are simply a witness to what you are experiencing. As your physical body settles and softens, visualize all of the places where your body connects with the earth below. Allow yourself to feel the sweetness of support here, as though you are being held in the arms of a loving mother. Notice how it feels to be held and supported. Without changing your breath, begin to notice your natural breath flowing through you. Feel your in-breath and your out-breath. Notice the temperature as it comes in and out through your nose or mouth. Follow the breath as it moves into the nostrils, down through the chest and abdomen. Follow the breath as it moves out from the lungs, esophagus, nostrils, or mouth. With each inhalation, visualize all of your cells being deeply nourished. With each exhalation, feel a sense of calm and softening. Each breath is guiding you into a deeper state of relaxation. Allow your awareness to travel now on a journey of guided imagery. Simply visualize or feel each image or memory as it is mentioned. Without moving, remain still. And there's no need to cling to or attach stories to the imagery. You will remain awake. The smell of rain, a comfy bed, driving with the windows down, the smell of your favorite flower, a joyful family gathering around the table, one deep cleansing breath, a beautiful sunset, the feeling you get when you hear your favorite song, a campfire, the sound of a thunderstorm, a refreshing drink of water, children playing, one deep cleansing breath, feet in the damp grass, being held or rocked by a loved one as a child, leaves falling from a tree on a fall day, an old dog basking in the sun, toes in the sand, a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, the feeling of being caught outside in the rain, one deep cleansing breath, your favorite place, a snowflake on the window before it melts, the excitement before a journey or vacation, a hug from a dear friend, the morning sunrise before the world awakens, freshly baked cookies, the feeling of good news, one deep cleansing breath, a warm summer night, the sound of the ocean, the eyes of a newborn, the taste of your favorite meal, a warm bath or shower, the joy of your favorite activity, the hands of an elderly person, a flickering candle, looking up at the stars, one deep cleansing breath. The practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. Bring awareness to your breath. And with your eyes still closed, become aware of your surroundings. Feel the support of the ground beneath you. As you are ready to move and reawaken, you might offer yourself a full body stretch, or maybe roll over into the fetal position, offering yourself 1 to 3 breaths before making your way into a comfortable seat with eyes still closed. And place both hands over your heart, one on top of the other. Offer yourself compassion, forgiveness, gratitude. Bring both of your hands to touch in front of your heart. Thank you so much for sharing this yoga practice with me this evening. The light within me sees and appreciates the light within you. Namaste.